our next round of panelists to the stage. This next panel is going to be very interactive. Usually it starts out with people being pretty shy in the audience, but we encourage you to stand up and participate in this as we go through it. We're going to be reading off some statements from investment managers here in the room and getting investors on stage to provide feedback on those. So we call this our rapid reaction panel, and the whole point is to help you get down that one sentence, that one-liner, that 15-second statement, so that when you write an email to someone, you leave a voicemail, you meet a private investor, you hear back a yes, that you do get the meeting, that you do get a phone call scheduled, etc. For private investors here in the room, I would keep an ear out for interesting one-liners, so you can follow up with them during cocktails and talk to the one out of 15 you hear up here today that you actually want to potentially do business with. That's a benefit of listening to this panel. Also, most investors over time realize they're best investing in one or two areas because of their background. So another way for a private investor to be listening to this panel is, what is my one-liner for myself as an investor? So if you want someone to refer deal flow to you and you're investing in 20 different areas, it's very hard for them to send a deal to you first or most often. But if they know that all you do is self-storage in Southern California, they might keep you in mind for that type of a deal. So this is just as important for an investor here in the room, because otherwise you're not going to get great deal flow because nobody knows what you're really looking for above everything else. So whole point here is being highly intentional, clear communicators, and just being effective on describing yourself in a single sentence. So we have cards here, and important as a kind of preface for this section is that it's not about whether someone here on stage wants to invest in what you're doing when we read the one-liner. It's more about when they hear it, is it distinct? Is it articulated well? Is it clear? Does it sound unique in the marketplace? Does it sound like they've heard it 1,000 times and it's not clear? Or it's muddled or repetitive or super long. It's not really one sentence. It's just a very long run-on sentence or a little paragraph. And so obviously we want to be polite with feedback, but there's no value if we just rate everybody 8 out of 10 and say, yeah, I like it. So we want to be somewhat candid, but we also want participation, so don't be too shy. We won't be too hard on you. But we're going to start out with Molly first, and maybe just do a quick 1 or 2 minute introduction on who each of you are and your daily perspective, and then we'll jump right into this.
All right, well, I'm excited to be here. Molly Grubb out of Columbus, Ohio, of Grubb Wealth. And what we do is we partner with private equity firms, venture capitalists to help business owners scale their businesses in a way that reduces their time so they can go out and build their dynasties. So we experience this personally. So, for example, 6 months ago, I lost my mom. My sister got leukemia. I had donated my stem cell and also left my husband all at the same time. And so I say that to you because our business actually grew by about 2 times during that time period. And so those are the things, those are the structures. We built out multiple revenue silos, streamlined businesses and other operations. We also help with the exit process. The only way we could have done what we did in the last 6 months is we sold 70% of our firm 2 years ago, so we could focus on business owners. So those are some of the things and structures that we put in place. We just so happen to use wealth management as a tool to be able to help them.
Great. And how many years has your wealth management firm been around for?
7 years.
Okay,
yes.
Great. And David, what about yourself?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Fong. I'm an investment partner and general counsel for GFO Companies, which stands for Gupta Family Office. We're a 40-year single-family office that invests in tech and real estate.
Great. And then, Andres, you've interacted with at least a third of the people here in the room. You get thousands of emails, like perhaps per month, that you see of people pitching their deals, explaining their deals, and you also over the phone hear a lot of those pitches. But can you give a little bit more color on day-to-day what you're doing in the Family Office Club, and maybe a little bit related to pitchdex.com, just in case people don't know?
Hello, everyone. For those of you that may not know, my name is Andres Ospina. I lead the charter membership program here at Family Office Club, and also I direct the pitchdex.com division that Richard launched late in 2018, where we create the marketing collateral, the pitch decks, the executive summaries, your website for a few of you guys here, and about over 25 clients now in total. I get a lot of your pitch decks. I get a lot of your executive summaries. I support Richard with a lot of the reviews when you guys send them in to see if you guys have your one-liner there. For the past year and a half, talking a little bit about what Jock talked about, highly, highly grateful. It's been one of the most incredible opportunities in my career to not only work under Richard, but have him as a mentor and as a coach that really gives me great insight into that has allowed me to network with a lot of the family offices and hear in these panels on, what really catches their attention, what really helps a deal stand out to them. My background is in marketing and sales and communication, so I understand the importance of having a clear message and delivering that message in a very authentic, powerful way. So for the past year and a half, I've been working with Richard to really review a lot of what you guys turn into us, and then also supporting the evolution of the marketing materials through our new pitchdecks.com division.
Great, thank you. And what I've found over time is that investors want you to have this information because it saves them time. They don't want to have to read a paragraph. They'd rather read a sentence to figure out what you do. And there's no reason not to have it. It doesn't cost anything but some intentionality and time. So let's jump right into this on the first one here from SL. We acquire, manage, and broker e-commerce resistant retail shopping centers for family offices and private clients. Would you guys rate that low, as confusing, not articulate, not unique, et cetera? Or would you rate that high because you're clear about what it is and it does sound unique and valuable?
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. I'm sorry, I know you can't see the screen from there. So we acquire, manage, and broker e-commerce resistant retail shopping centers for family offices and private clients.
So
one would be a bad.
Be a regular panel, so I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. One is a low score, and then if you love it and you think it's excellent and clear, then it would be a high score. It'd be 5, 8, 10, etc. 3. Do you want to comment on, Molly, why you gave it a 3?
I think it's very articulate. You know exactly what they do, but I think it could. I think it also has some filler words, so you just want to be really quick and clean and make it as short as possible. So acquire, manage, brokerage. I think that could maybe be done in really one word, honestly. But outside of that, I think it's very clear on what they do.
Sure. Thank you. Anyone else want to comment on this one?
I'll create a little controversy.
Sure.
I lean more toward 1.
Okay.
I thought it was a little confusing.
Okay.
Well, part of it may be my bias because I'm in real estate, and so I don't know what he means by e-commerce resistant. Really, to me that's kind of a buzzword.
Sure.
Also, he acquires, he brokers, he manages. So, in my opinion, you're either an acquirer, investor, or you're an intermediary. Really, I don't really see too many groups that are really good at both.
Sure.
And so,
Sure.
So while they may be good, they may be the exception to the rule.
Sure.
But
so part of the feedback is since you're in the real estate space and there's some weight that comes with saying e-commerce resistant, is to say how it is e-commerce resistant.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I'd like to know more. Does it,
right.
And I don't know if you could fit that in one sentence.
Sure.
But yeah, to me it's just a vague statement.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And I think
everyone tries to be e-commerce resistant. I mean, everyone wants to.
Right.
Otherwise, the brick and mortar shopping centers. Yeah, obviously they're not going away. It's not the crisis that everyone predicted that they would all go away, but there's certainly a lot of secondary, BC malls that have kind of been destroyed, and
right.
they're trying to repurpose into like mixed use or housing and different things. So
right.
I'm not really clear what he does.
Sure.
Something in retail.
I think it's valuable to hear because when you said because I'm a real estate guy, and I think that's an important part about reading these one-liners is that you want it dialed in for your specific private investor avatar. If you're raising capital from Silicon Valley tech professionals, or if you're raising capital from plastic surgeons, they might read this one-liner and absolutely love it or not. And if you raise capital from people who are highly sophisticated real estate investors with 30 years experience, they might really like it or not. It could be the exact same one-liner. In fact, this same one-liner we've had here at a different event. I think it was in January this year or February, and it did well, and the real estate person on the panel loved it more than everyone else. So I think the part of it is that you need to evolve it 20, 30 times, try it out on your business partners, and then try it out on your investor avatars, like who you're targeting as your investor to get that very specific feedback from them. Here's one from Ed Ryan from Positive Learning. Positive Learning is the only vendor providing online instructional materials specifically designed for secondary English language learners for K through 12 school districts. We are raising capital to expand our sales team from Texas to the rest of the nation.
I'd personally give it a 3. Maybe a little lengthy. I'm not sure how important that last part is. It's great to mention why they're raising the capital, but they probably need the capital for a variety of different reasons. And I think it's also really important for them to maybe exchange that for some information that can show a little bit about, that can explain a little bit about their growth and their success rate. And I don't think they mentioned that they're unique and that they're only, which is really good and why I like it. But I think a one-liner that delivers a message as to how they've been currently successful would probably be more important than the reason they need capital.
Sure. Anyone else want to comment on this one before I move on?
I actually lean more toward 5, so maybe it's a 4. I'm a lawyer by background, and so I've been trained to read legal documents, and where sentences are 2 pages long, and so I really abhor lengthy prose, and so I like very sharp, concise, very clear language. I liked it because it was very simple, very got the concept. He needs to elaborate more, and again, I guess it kind of goes to, and I don't know, sort of the point of these, is this his opening line or is this his whole pitch? Obviously, if I met him at a cocktail party and he gave me that line, okay, he's got my interest. I then start asking the questions you ask. Just to compare it to the other one, when he said that stuff about the e-commerce business, I'd be, okay, well, what does that really mean?
Sure.
And it's confusing. What is this technology?
Usually, I think this one-liner is used to pique their interest, to flip to page 2 of the pitch deck, or to have the top of a one-pager instead of saying Wilson Capital. They don't know what you're offering, and then a paragraph of text explaining some overview of the industry, or a pitch deck many times says the brand on the first page, then a disclosure, then a table of contents, and you got to get to page 4 or 5 before you know what the firm's doing. The point is, if you have this dialed in, you leave a voicemail, and then someone actually is interested enough to call you back, hopefully. To try to dial it in to that degree is really the goal. Here's another one from Alejandro Sandoval from Tesco Corporation. Transit-oriented development within the emerging economy of Houston, Texas, a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. So, Molly, why'd you hold up a 1 pretty quickly on that one?
I really don't know what they do.
Sure, fair enough. I think one thing I want to point out on this one is that if you have a name like Wilson Capital or Tesco Corporation, unless you're already very well established, then the name itself doesn't tell you what they do or the benefit of working with them. And then if the one-liner as well doesn't tell you what they do or why you should work with them, then it can be challenging. But if the name of your brand says what you do and or why you should work with them, then the one-liner doesn't have to say some of that, and the one-liner can dig deeper. To David's point, you can be more clear on what some of the words mean if someone already knows what you're doing because you're called Texas Self-Storage Partners. Well, now you don't need to use the word self-storage in Texas in the one-liner, and half your one-liner is saved, and you can use that to go deeper and be super clear, on what's unique about you. Does anyone else want to comment on that one?
I was just going to give them a 3 because I think they're going down the right path. I think it's pretty clear by listening to it that they've probably taken our advice and have given it a shot. I just think that maybe it got a little overcomplicated, and if they probably give this one-liner another 20 similar ones that they can pick from, I think that they'll eventually get to a really good one.
Right. For sure. David?
Yeah, and I guess I'm a 2, so
Sure.
card, but I'm in between you two. Transit-oriented development, I get, obviously, because of real estate, but the part about emerging Houston and all that, that part was not certain what that really means. But what I didn't like was really billion-dollar opportunity, because to me, that's, everyone wants a billion-dollar opportunity. Are you really giving me a billion-dollar opportunity?
Right.
And so that's a little more, no offense if you're in the room, it's a little more car salesman-y, and having a bit approach and a lot of people pitching, those are the kinds over time you kind of, tune out a little bit.
Right.
And so I
Right.
wouldn't
Yeah, no, I
necessarily
can
say
see that. I think investors that see a lot of deal flow, if someone says they're the next unicorn or they're going to displace Facebook, it just kind of makes them, the more that you say we're this billion-dollar thing, if you're not already...
It immediately puts you on the defensive, really, or
Right.
is he trying to outsmart me in some way?
I think with the line, I think it's, when you say a transit-oriented development, not everyone in the room is going to know what that is. I mean, obviously this room does, but I think making it very clear so anyone on the street can understand what you do is really kind of the whole idea behind this.
Right. Like when Jim spoke this morning about senior living communities, and he was calling them SLCs, or even in something as simple as multifamily versus, say, an apartment building, some high net worth investors don't know what multifamily means. They never heard that in their life. So you might live in this multifamily bubble, but your investor avatar, if that's not the word they're using day to day, then it can confuse them, I think.
Yeah, and I guess it goes back to some of the other things spoken earlier in the conference. You got to know your audience and who you're talking to, and you need to spend that a little extra time because that shows the thoughtfulness that as an investor you appreciate that they thought about who their target was and they defined it correctly. Obviously, like you said, the man on the street won't know transit-oriented or e-commerce resistant.
Right.
What does that mean?
Right. And however much you work on the one-liner, not everyone on your team may love it or get why some of those words are important. But if you're the founder and you've been in the space for 30 years, then you know why some of those words are important. And also, even if you target it really well to your investor target group, some of them might not like it. And like in the case of working with centimillionaires, there's 55,000 of them globally. We only need to work with 100 out of the 55,000. You're not trying to appeal to everybody. You're trying to appeal to who connects with what you're trying to do most.
And
of course.
And just to add one thing, and just to take it to the level of you're actually interacting with someone, even at these kind of events. Part of when I talk to people, it's you ask them what they do, what their specialty is. You kind of understand, and you got to adjust your pitch appropriately.
Right. Like one PitchDecks.com client, we just hit 30 clients. The number 2 or 3 client came in, and they were a multifamily group in 2 different states, and they had a bunch of letters as their brand name. And what we said is that, well, it'd be more powerful if you focused on 1 state versus 2 because you're just getting started. It'll be more of a niche offering. They ended up doing that and then also changed their branding. So when you hear their name, you know what they invest in and where they do it versus a bunch of letters as the brand name, and then it can be confusing when you're going out in the marketplace of what you do and who you do it for. Here's another one from Patient MD. Build a global ecosystem of prosperity and promises honored. So I'm guessing that you guys didn't think this one was clear enough on what they do. Essentially, is a big part.
I think it's overly subjective.
I see. Yeah.
In the last panel we talked about. I think in the last panel we talked a little bit about like subjective wording and being very careful with the adjectives you use. So once again, very subjective. To the investor, they want something a little bit more tangible and something that really discusses the tangible and objective results.
Sure. I was at a dinner in San Diego last week after speaking at an event, and somebody was working on their one-liner, and they work in the opportunity zones, and their one-liner was something like transforming the world through real estate. That reminded me of this one, and I told them, well, if anybody can wake up tomorrow and use your one-liner and also say your exact same thing, it's probably not a very powerful one-liner. You should probably say our principal founder alone has 37 years of experience, or after closing 29 deals over 19 years with $400 million under management, we are transforming something, or something tangible. It's verifiable, credible, objective. Someone could do due diligence on it, and you can prove to them you actually have done 28 deals. I think that's night and day more powerful than when you're just generic and subjective.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a big difference between the one-liner and the slogan. And this sounds a little more like a slogan versus like the actual one-liner.
Right. Molly, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the statement, it's very short and clear, but like you said earlier, it's very general. I mean, you could apply this to almost any industry. So, when we're helping people with pitches, what we try to do is follow the XYZ format, which is X, what you do, Y, and then Y is, X is who you're helping. So we help family business owners, and then why, what is the purpose of it? What is that you actually do? So we help scale their businesses, and what is the result of that? What is the purpose? So that they can build their dynasties. So those are that's the format that we try to follow. So it's very clear. People know exactly. They have that image in their mind of what your actually purpose is behind everything.
Yeah, I agree with Andres. I think it's more of a like you said, a slogan or a rallying cry, or to your troops, to your team, or it's more of maybe a mission statement of what you're trying to do as a mission, as an opening line to a pitch. I don't think it's, like you said, it's too subjective.
Right, right. And if anyone in the audience is thinking like, oh, why are we spending so much time going over this? It's because most one-liners are pretty bad. Most people don't even have a one-liner. We've reviewed 295 of your pitch decks. Most of you don't have a single sentence that says what you do. And if you meet with an investor and they have to go to their spouse or business partner, their investment committee, et cetera, why should it be their homework to figure out what you do and why it's relevant on planet Earth to their portfolio? You should be doing that, but I find that almost no one does it. And I remember Sanjeet from Intel Corporate Venture Capital on stage saying you have 15 seconds to get his attention or you're gone. We've had Brian, who works at a multi-$100 million single-family office, say that you have one line within the email, otherwise you get archived because they just have so much coming at them. They need to quickly sort, and if you don't do that for them, then it's just not going to get done. This one from Talos Holdings, Class A apartment developer with 30-year track record, life-changing training, and development for residents seeking investors.
I like that one. It was very clear to me. The only thing I didn't like was sort of the life-changing part, because that's a little too subjective. I don't know what that really means. I'm not certain how apartments can be life-changing.
Sure. And I think that I think in both this case and the e-commerce case, the strong point of what they're offering and describing that within a few words in a sentence is a big challenge. And I think that's something that probably many people here in the room face, is the thing that's unique that they do that's not common, which is their unique advantage, might be the hardest thing to communicate in such a brief amount. And I think that's a common hurdle that a lot of people here are facing.
Yeah, so maybe that's something for the second sentence, of the next part of the pitch.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that because I know a little bit more about Jock, and that part of his unique value proposition is that training and development side. That's why I'd give it a 5. But David makes the good point about how maybe that is the next piece of information that you deliver after you pique interest. Because one of the important things about the one-liner is the fact is the brevity of it, right? It's being brief. It's the fact that you almost want it to be a cliffhanger, so when you end the sentence, that investor's kind of leaning in and going, well, tell me more, right? And that's that invitation to kind of go deeper into it, right? Many people make the mistake of where your one-liner should be, you insert your whole entire pitch, and it's a 6-minute conversation while the person was really just trying to go to the restroom. So I think, like I said, I give it a 5 because he includes his unique value proposition, and he also adds, his track record and specifics on what he's investing in.
And I would take a little bit different approach. I would have it even more on the secret sauce and say, 400 other, or while all the competition upgrades things at 5 or 10K per door, we have longer tenancy and we attract higher quality, higher paying tenants, because we do have this training involved, or we do have these benefits, and say that in an elegant way that's a little bit more concise, just to stress what's different. They also have a very unique structure, et cetera, so I'd fit those two things in there and just lead with the uniqueness. In the multifamily space, the more crowded your space is, the more you have to lead with what makes you unique. Otherwise, you just get completely lost, I think, with a sophisticated investor. If someone sees 2 deals a year and you're one of the 2, then you don't have to really have a one-liner. But if you're trying to go from raising capital from private investors to family offices who haven't already known you for a half decade or a decade, I think that's where you do need to have a one-liner. Here's one from Cimarron Capital. Cimarron Capital shows institutional investors how to mitigate risk in capital markets and commodities using complexity science. Got some tough judges on stage here today.
I think for me, it was, you had me all the way until we got into saying the word complexity science.
Yeah.
I mean, my question is, I have no idea what that is. Just watering it down, so like I said, any stranger on the street understands what you're talking about. You got to say it in the audience's language, and it's hard to do that because as professionals, it's so used to just speaking to our peers and our colleagues, and we want to sound intelligent, but the essence of intelligence is being able to explain something very complex in a very simple manner.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. You had me until complexity science too, because I mean, I'm not a science guy, so all science is complex to me. So, yeah, it's like, what are you really saying? Are you just throwing out some big words, or
Right.
And it didn't have. Maybe the intent was to kind of give you that mystery, to kind of lure you in, to give you the hook. Oh, you're wanting to learn more, but I don't know. For me, it was the opposite effect.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think some one-liners could just raise curiosity and not have maximum clarity, but it's always good if you can have both. This next one from Targacell, a non-invasive stem cell delivery system using proprietary proteins to repair damaged hearts.
Can you repeat it one more time, please?
Sure. A non-invasive stem cell delivery system using proprietary proteins to repair damaged hearts. So what made you not want to give that one an 8 or a 10 in one of your cases?
Well, I actually really liked it because for something as complex as stem cells, they kept it very simple. In a sense, I still don't understand what all these different proteins are, but I've heard the word protein before, and it doesn't scare me as much as hearing the word complexity. Sciences, right? Like the thing with, and I want to go back to that one just really quickly, is because you insert the word, like the second I heard the word complex, I was like, ugh, because right away you're going to scare people away. Like, who wants to invest into something complex, right? So unless complexity sciences is a simple term to people in that niche, you want to stay away from words like complex,
Right.
or, yeah.
Right.
But this one felt simple and easy to understand, and would pique my interest as a bit of a science nerd myself.
Great. David?
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't know we could go up to 10. I was using 5, but
Oh, okay.
anyway,
Oh, okay.
no, I liked it. I agree. Stem cell science is complex, and it's I get scared too normally when I hear that word. But he structured his one-liner in a way that actually made it okay. It sounds interesting, and there's something
Sure.
he's doing that sounds a little unique. I don't know if I love the words like proprietary. Everyone's proprietary. Everyone can say whatever they do is proprietary. So that was the only sort of flaw I saw in it.
Sure.
But otherwise, it was one that made me like, okay, I want to learn a little more. Let's dig a little deeper into a scary subject like stem cell science
sure.
that I normally would not want to venture into.
Sure.
Well, having a drill put in my sacrum about 50 times to donate my stem cell to my sister, I understand that very well. And it was simple. It was very simple and short and clean, so anybody could understand that. So that's why we have cards. For those of you who don't know, we have cards 1, 3, and 5. And so 5 is our highest rating.
We
that
usually
can
do
give.
1 through 10, so one of the persons that didn't know was me. But, yeah. So not as tough of customers as I thought you were being on people. But, yeah, that's good feedback. I appreciate that. Yeah. Give some
I
people
thought the
relief
scale was
for
lower.
submitted these. Yeah. Makes sense. So I'd like to get some from the audience, just so somebody, these, everyone but one of these, I think, came from someone who's here in the room today that submitted them via the welcome email letter that went out yesterday. But if anyone wants to stand up now and share their one-liner and get some feedback, I'd be happy to run a mic over to you. I think, Charlie, we have one in front here.
Thank you. My name is Doug Bush. I'm principal of the Renaissance Group, and my one-liner is repurposing existing communities for today's middle market.
Great. So what would you guys rate that one-liner as?
I'd give it a 3. I think it just needs just all you have to do is really just kind of add a little bit on like your track record or the type of investor that you're looking for. But I think just like track record, years in business, something like that. Something with like just add a couple numbers in there for some proof of results, and I think it'll strengthen it that much more.
Yeah, I think whatever is your strongest foot forward is what you should lead with. So if it's a unique JV 50-50 structure, you lead with that. If it's the 92 years of experience among your two principals, then I would lead with that. But I think it's important to put something that's going to make you stand out more if somebody has talked to many people in that space.
I was just trying to get the point across about what we do as quickly and as concisely as possible.
Right.
So that would start a conversation.
Right. I mean, I think it's just if you're going to a family office that sees a lot of deal flow, they're going to say, oh, well, I've met hundreds of people that do that in a way. So why should I reply to this email? And if it's that you're local to them, that could be a reason to reply, or years of experience, or unique strategy, or something of that nature.
Thank you.
I help. Yeah. I think we had another one in the middle of the room, perhaps. And then, there.
Hi, thank you. Chris Winkler with Silverwood Capital. So our fund invests in high yield, distressed real estate notes, and our average net ROI is over 50%.
What would you guys rate that one as?
Well, as a real estate guy, yeah, that was as concise and clear as you could be. So I get it. I understand exactly what you do, and if I was interested in it, I'd talk to you about it.
Because your ROI, the IRR at 50% is so high, if I was you, I would at least think about whether you could say that is across 82 deals or 22 deals, et cetera, because otherwise it might make me think, do they just get started? They've only done 3 deals, and when you're doing very small deals, sometimes there's high inefficiency. But as you try to scale to any competitive level, so I'd just kind of maybe de-risk that depending on who you're going to. It'll be one consideration, because most people can't give those types of returns. So I'd maybe try to de-risk them saying, "Oh, that can't be true," and moving on.
Yeah, I like. This is the first time I'm doing this, but I like, how one of the early ones where you had where you talked about how many years track record, and so the only other comment I was going to add about I like the word repurpose, the way you use that, and you identified your target market segment in real estate. The only thing, like they said, was maybe adding in something about your success rate or your years of experience or something. I think that would be the nice finishing touch on that one-liner.
Great. I think Tom up here in the front.
Wilson Investment Properties is a experienced provider of value-add, cash-flowing investments in high-growth markets with IRRs of 15 to 20%.
I think just adding a little bit on years in business is good, but I think for the most part it's pretty clear and easy to understand.
I think it was good. I was very clear to me. I would just maybe shorten it up a little bit, make it pop a little more, but I think it was good.
Yeah, the only thing, maybe I misheard it, but what is your asset? What are you investing in? You said, can you say it again?
What type of
what is the
real
type
estate?
of aspect? That's what I was unclear about from the statement.
Real estate properties.
Okay, well, again, this could be my own bias because I'm a real estate guy, but real estate is a big, we had the self-storage guy, you had industrial, so to me...
All asset classes.
Yeah, so in all...
Because most people are generic, and they shouldn't be, might be part of David's point. Most people are focused on one thing, and in your case, I know you're invested in different types of commercial real estate to give your investors, exposure to different types of assets, I guess, in their portfolio. Usually when David asks that question, the answer is, oh, it's multifamily that we do, and not many different areas.
That's a good point. Yeah, there's trying to leverage off the name purposely, the title of the company purposely, Wilson Investment Properties. We kept that so it would be descriptive rather than just investments, but maybe indicating the breadth of asset classes would be a good adder.
Oh, I missed that part about the multifamily. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And then one back by Ellie.
It's Ricky. I'm managing partner of Tech Wildcatters. We're a seed stage venture capital fund accelerator program headquartered here in Dallas, Texas. We get companies from around the world. We've been around since 2009, had 150 companies and 8 successful exits.
Great. So let's hold up signs and see what you would rate that one-liner for. Before they comment, the one thing I think was really strong is that you had very tangible things that make it more credible. And in my experience, if you start with those things have to be in there, and you rewrite it 10, 20 times, show it to a business partner, have them rewrite it 5, 6 times, you'll end up with something concise and very powerful. A lot of people are missing those tangible numbers. And when you have a run-on sentence or a short one and there's nothing tangible, it's hard for people to hang their hat on something. So I think that the strong point was the tangible figures. Does anyone else want to comment on that one?
It'd be great to see it on paper. I really like the way that you said it. I would say even just, at events where you're networking, if you slow down the pace just a little bit and really hit those points hard, I think you would pique a lot of people's interest.
Great.
Yeah, I would, same ranking. I would also echo those comments. I thought it was a little bit too long. I would shorten it a little bit. It's just me.
Sure. Yeah. I think definitely it could be shortened a little bit just by refining it over and over again a few times. I think we had another one in the middle. Yes, 1 second.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Troy Grogan with Premier Business Solutions. So this pitch is actually a joint venture between my business partner and wife. So anyhow, our pitch is raising capital to develop a tropical island and build a high-end environmental friendly community.
What would you guys rate that one-liner?
So, definitely, because retreat centers and islands where things go on, I love that niche. I don't know why you're building this island. There's no explanation as to, we need capital to raise for this island. Where, can you say the last part again?
Just raising capital to build a high-end, environmentally friendly community.
Yeah, so it's just not specific enough. It's just more like you're raising capital to build your own conscious community. It feels like, and there's no unique value proposition. There's no mention of where there could be a strong ROI for the investor.
For me, the times I've seen people raising capital for buying an island or developing an island, it's very binary. Either they're brokering a $100 million plus project, or the project's either going to get a lot of capital raised, or it's just not going to happen and it's going to go bust. And if you get the first round done, but then don't get the second round down, it could go bust. So I think, to me, it feels very risky if you don't cap it with, now this is your fourth island you've done this on, or this is your seventh hospitality asset, or something that would de-risk it a bit. Otherwise, I'd say, well, it could be exciting if I knew the area was right next to me and I know that island, but otherwise I'd be scared of that binary risk, I think.
I have a general statement just for anyone that's making a pitch. Just make sure when you're using your voice to pitch, this is your one time to get them. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I have a soft voice. So I want to make a general statement about people when they make their one-line pitch, because this is something that you only have basically 10 or 15 seconds to be able to do, is make sure you're using your voice the correct way. Don't speak in a monotone voice. Make sure if you're saying you have a tropical island, that's kind of a big word, so maybe add a little extra volume to that and add in your pauses, or maybe go into a chest voice when it's something serious, and if it's something positive, go a little higher. So just kind of work on the melody. I mean, we all go to concerts to hear beautiful music. Your voice is also a musical instrument. So use it that way to be able to sound different, because everybody else that's pitching is going to speak in that monotone, very serious business voice, and you want to sound a little different.
Right. I mean, I guess some of you might think well, my voice isn't very melodic, but I
we all
think
have those ranges.
The fact that most of us are 42 to 62-year-old males who talk in similar ways and maybe don't show our sense of humor often enough, or personality. I think it helps when you do show personality or passion, or that you are the PhD engineering super nerd of your niche. Investors want to see who you genuinely are and not be the robotic suit and tie in front of them pitching. We just have time for one more.
Wait, can I just?
That's why I'm not a singer.
Yeah. The other
Right.
comment I definitely agree with you. Definitely having enthusiasm and passion for what you're pitching is important, especially if you're doing it live in an email or document. You can't. It's hard to convey that. My only other comment on your pitch was I couldn't tell whether are you a developer or are you a broker when you're raising capital. So that's where. But that's where maybe adding some little more clarification in that line might have helped.
Sure. And anyone who didn't get to, I know we have 3 or 4 more people raising their hands. I guess we have one person standing already, so I'll let you go real quick. But anyone who else didn't get to say their one-liner, if the thank you email that just went out to you, if you can reply to that with your one-liner, I would be happy to give you some feedback on it, on how to potentially make it more powerful. But go ahead and say yours real quick, and let's try to make this a 1-minute response here.
My name is Rick Heller with Wello. To break the chain of the public's contagious infection, Wello instantly measures body temperature without touch and self-service to detect fever for a healthier environment in child care, health care, offices, and restaurants.
I think it's very clear what you do. I would drastically shorten it, though, but I think it's clear.
Great. Anyone else want to comment just in 30 seconds or less, and then we can wrap it up?
Quick question. The main thing you do is detect the fever.
Yeah.
It's I would almost start the sentence off with that and then work the rest of it in. Because I was kind of waiting. I was like, so what do you do? Or how do you do it? And then it kind of came up towards the end. I was like, oh. So it kind of made me miss kind of like the first part. So just kind of move that to the front, maybe shorten it a bit, and then just give it about 20 variations and pick the best one.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I kind of got a little confused at the end too.
Sure. Great. So before we give the panelists a round of applause, I just want to remind them if we can exit out the side doors